Good afternoon and welcome to Pickett, Wisconsin for yet another beautiful day engine run. Now the weather today is 57 degrees with a slight breeze, so it feels about like 54, but it's a spectacular day to run an engine. Now the engine I've got on the stand here today is one that I've been waiting to run for months, and you all have been waiting for months to see run, and this engine has actually been waiting since 1984 to be run, because that's when it was made. This is the Raduga 10RU engine that was sent to me all the way from Uzbekistan. So, we are going to run this engine for the very first time today. And the parameters for today's run are going to be, I have a 12/6 wood Zinger prop. Now see, those of you that have been following this, see how easily this thing flips over now? So this engine took a lot of, so anyway, to the parameters. 12/6 wood prop, that's what I'm going to run. I have a glow plug of unknown origin. It might be a can be, but it's an idle bar plug similar to what was included with this engine, but the one that was included with this engine was just pathetic, and I was not even going to attempt to use that. And I'm also running FAI fuel because the instructions that were sent to me on this engine said that this was designed for FAI fuel. But this FAI fuel is actually going to be using methanol and synthetic motul oil. And it's an 85% mix, I believe is what I've got here. This tank says 80-20, but it might actually be 85-15. So this engine took quite a lot of effort to get ready to run, as those of you that have watched the channel and watched this engine know it was just so gummed up it wasn't even funny. So the other thing that's happening that's new here is, again, yet another run with this Ron Sexton test stand. But I've got a new battery, and an awesome guy, Chris, donated this Rob Super starter for me also. So between the new battery and this Rob starter, I don't think there's anything I'm not going to be able to start with this. So the only question is my cone. I needed to bulk it up on the outside with some tape to make it fit properly. So hopefully it won't spin, but if it does, I'll just wrap some more tape around it and then we'll go from there. So let's just fire this engine up on this beautiful day for the first time and see how she does. All right, let's put some real fuel in this thing for the first time in ever. It's locked up now. Okay, let's try this one more time. I might have flooded the engine, but I'm not certain. And when I rotated the carb a bit, it pinched that fuel line, so break-in run. It's just not quite ready for all that yet. I don't know how many turns I've got open now. It's quite a lot. It's not that hot. Hey, at least the starter is working really well. So is that battery. I'm not even doing anything. I just had it at mid-throttle at rich setting. I just was testing the low speed there because this low speed or mid low speed mixture has a notch right there, and it just, my blow test, it seems like it's really rich there, so I turned it way back. And like I said, I don't even know how many, I can't really count the number of turns that high speed needle is at. I'm just going to let it run for about half a tank, and then we'll see if we can't start tweaking it a little bit. If it'll keep running. Interesting. You know what, just for the hell of it, I'm going to go back to midpoint there, or the starting point, just on the low speed, and just see how it responds to that. Look at that, it's not hot. I see, same thing with that HP engine a while back. I see a lot of fuel in the mid-range there, just flying around in the carb. I'm going to dial that back quite a bit. Seemed like it was fine when I had the glow on there, like it was way too rich. And then I got the full throttle. I don't know. kind of an interesting thing here. Still not getting all that hot. Got like a mid-range thing going on there. I'd like to be able to try and get some tack readings, but if it's not wanting to stay running, that's going to be a little tough to do. As soon as I get the tachometer out, it wants to die. It's like it gets to about half throttle and then it just wants to conk. Even going back, throttling back slowly. I don't understand that. I thought it had a pretty decent idle. Let me lean that low speed one more click and see what happens. I don't think that's going to help the mid-range. Well, I think we can say that the engine runs and the weakest link is the carb. Big surprise, because MDS engines, the weakest link was the carb there too. So, and this is a predecessor of the MDS engine as far as I know. So there you have it. Shit carb. But I'm going to put this right back to the midpoint where it should be the medium setting, and we'll see how it responds there now. Say way too rich. Now I've gone even leaner than I have before on that low speed. I thought I was gonna say, boy, I've got it dialed in now. It must not have liked to idle that long, but it's getting there. Getting down near the end of this tank, near the end of the time allotted. I don't know why now all of a sudden it's not wanting to stay at full throttle, and all I did was the last adjustment was a throttle stop setting, so that should have absolutely no effect on full throttle. Let me richen that mixture a couple of clicks and see if that helps anything. It is near the end of the tank though. With that, I think we'll call it a run. Okay, so there you have it. First run of the Raduga 10RU engine. Now we'll do the question and answers. Was that a break-in run? Yes, it was. Was I running it extremely hard for a break-in run? Yes, I was. What do you think of this engine? It's about what I expected. About what I expected from mid-80s Russian-built engine. It's not an OS, but it's also not a Yugo, but it's pretty close. The carb, interesting, because the mid-range setting, where that notch is on the mid-range or low-speed setting, is so rich at the medium setting that it's not even funny. I mean, I basically almost got that thing completely closed. But, so the issues that we were having, or I was having, at the onset, could have just been very well that it was a new engine, it's never been run before, and luckily it wasn't getting all that hot, because it kept shutting down, so the ring was getting seated. It feels like it's got good compression, feels like it's got the same amount of compression as it had before, so it hasn't lost anything. I'm surprised that glow plug put up with all the stuff that it did. But I mean, it's not a bad running engine. I think the engine itself, you know, is a nice engine. It runs really well. The drawback is that the carb is very questionable. Now, a buddy of mine, Chris, the same Chris that sent me the Rob starter and the OS 120 Surpass SP engine, also has a Raduga 10RU engine. And he ran his and sent me a personal video of it, and his results were very similar. He was actually able to fit an OS 65AX carb on his, and he said that it transformed the engine completely. I tried several different carbs I had on hand, from 40 size to 60 size, Super Tiger, whatever. I was taking carbs off engines, trying to find another one that would fit this, and I couldn't find one that would fit it. So, is this a decent engine? Yeah, I'd say this is a decent engine. It ran well. It seemed like at the end there, midway to the end, I managed to get it tuned so that it would actually transition all the way to idle, hold a relatively stable idle, and then transition slowly back up to full throttle without dying. Now, whether it would still do that with a jam-on acceleration and full throttle, I don't think so. But that could also just be because it's the first run and it's breaking in and it needs more time. But the way I have to run engines on this channel, I don't sit here and run the same engine 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Every time I run an engine, I've got a camera going. So, and I also didn't bring any extra fuel. But I mean, this was fun. It was interesting. It's always fun to try to figure out why something isn't working perfectly. And I think I managed to get this thing tweaked in pretty well. So, there's your run for the Raduga 10RU engine. Hope you enjoyed watching.